And welcome to the last Wednesday episode of Beerfield Fantasy Football until at least next September. I am your host at Hot BFF. Real happy this is the last Wednesday episode until at least next September. Dan Thury at Thury BFF. A little dental work today, so not quite as energetic.
Yeah, it's when you haven't gone to the dentist in about 13 years, shit needs work. And I decided to get gum therapy on both top and bottom. And what they do is they numb you. They numb everything inside your mouth. And they just inject it with a bunch of shit and clean it up. And now my shit's sore. So it's really fun talking with a numb mouth, though, by the way.
Yeah, it would have almost been as good as good segue. It would have almost been as good as my complete drunken shit show of week 14, which I have not listened to, and I don't recall most of the recording of that from the December 4th episode and the week 14 preview. But for our listeners that haven't listened to that, just for a little shall we say reason to go back and listen to it, I'm going to read the play-by-play of this episode as told by my boss, who was listening to it on his way home, who was the reason I was that drunk that night.
Oh, it's so good.
Wow, this podcast is great. You said oatmeal cold cock and wasted, then oatmeal cookco, then finally cookie. Loads of rambling and describing it. Said oatmeal 9 times. I was drinking a Scotch oatmeal cookie stout that night, which I was also drinking tonight as he was texting me all of this. Then your mic fell off the stand. Couple of random pauses from you. Your co-host said, "Do more of these."
I mean,
and
it's a fucking blast.
Yeah. And now you have the hiccups. You said you know what I'm saying because you know what I'm saying. The kind of expert analysis you can only get from us. You know what I'm saying because you know what I'm saying. And now,
you know what I'm saying?
And now you're leaning from the mic. So you come down and out of loudness. It's good now. And now you're putting emphasis on random syllables. Like this.
Oh, God. It's like having flashbacks.
Yeah. And
it was one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
And stuff. Is that a technical term?
Oh, God.
Pittsburgh. Yes, Pittsburgh. Wait, you get it. And you dropped the microphone again. And the hiccups are back. And now you're telling us you're typing. And sounds like you're falling asleep. And you dropped the phone. And you dropped the microphone again. And then another guy that was listening to it said that I learned a minute 41 in, you cheated to win that trivia that you used the gift card for to buy me dinner tonight. Actually, it was a beer. It wasn't dinner. But you get it. Either way, that's the play-by-play from the Week 14 preview episode I don't remember recording, so I know we're beyond Week 14. But if you just want some entertainment value, I guess go back and listen to that. I'm going to listen to it on Friday on my longer drive-in when I go to the office on the other side of the river. So we'll see how I feel about myself after that.
I bet.
Anyway, enough about that. We tied for last week's accuracy thing. Or at least I'm guessing we tied because Michael Thomas would have bumped one of my sits out of top 24, and I'm pretty sure Drew Brees dropped one of your streams out of top 15. So
okay,
yep, we're gonna call it a tie. We're not doing one this week because we got something a little special for you. I'll total up accuracy points from all 15 weeks and give one of us props at the Fuelies and let us know how close we were. I got a feeling we're gonna be pretty close to each other though.
I think it'll probably lean you, be my guess, but I think you're right. I think it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, we'll see. So that'll be fun. We'll count that up. But what we're doing for you today is we're going to run through all the injuries like normal. We're going to drink like normal. But instead of giving you a round to start sits, we're going to throw it back a little bit to the way we did previews last year, sort of. Not as in-depth. And we're just going to run through game by game and tell you if there's anything that we particularly like from that game from a guy that may be a fringe player, just because we're going to try to take care of all your start-sit questions in one swoop, basically.
Yeah.
So we're just going to run through the games and tell you if there's somebody that's fringe or that might be a sneaky play that we like in each game or something we want to stay away from, or if it's just status quo at this point. But yeah, before we do that, follow the show at Beerfield FF on Twitter, Untapped, Instagram, where I realized the last thing we posted on Instagram was like pre-draft running back rankings.
Yeah, it was. I haven't done much with it.
Yeah.
I probably won't, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and get into what is fueling us today.
What's fueling Beerfield?
All right, Dan. What do you got?
All
What's
right,
numbing your pain?
I wasn't going to drink because my gums were still really sore, but I was like, I was gonna drink whiskey, and then I get home and I see all the fun barrel aged stuff I brought home, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll drink one of those. So I'm drinking Oddside's Bluegrass Breakfast. It's in collaboration with my job at Benny's. It is a imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee, maple syrup, bacon, and pecans. It is it is otherworldly to start. More of my thoughts on this later.
All right, and for me, I'm breaking out something. One of my favorite bottles of bourbon, because this is the last Wednesday episode of the year, potentially ever. We'll see how we feel coming into next year. But there's been some talk about just doing one a years, but more on that next season. The one a years, one a weeks, but more on that next season. Anyway, for this year, it's our last Wednesday episode. We will have a Monday episode for week 17, but I wanted to wrap it up with something special. So, went into the Blanton single barrel, and there's two reasons I did this. One, it's one of my favorite pours of whiskey, bourbon specifically. And two, it is something that you see flying around a lot on shelves this time of year. People are able to pick it up one of the few times throughout the season in bottles of, in realms of 2, 3, or 4, and get their hands on this actually this time of year. So I wanted to put a review out there for it, just in case somebody stumbles across it and is thinking, is it worth the $70 to $90? And it is, but I'll give
it is really good
full review halfway through the show.
Yeah, I get a lot of questions. Working at a liquor store at this time of year, just in general.
Well,
you guys got any Blantons?
Yeah, Blanton's hits this time of year. Buffalo Trace Antique collection drops this time of year. Old Forester's birthday bourbon. Like, the fall is a good time for bourbon.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
there's all sorts of limited release stuff that comes out once a year that comes out this time of year and across the fall and winter.
And then you throw in Pappy and
Pappy and the different variants of Weller, which are always highly sought after. It's bourbon season. So.
It is bourbon season.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the news. There are a couple news items to get into.
News.
All right, kicking us off, Jaguars have fired executive Tom Coughlin. I don't remember exactly what he did. The NFL ruled that under his watch, the Jaguars had violated the collective bargaining agreement, finding players for numerous non-football reasons. The NFLPA even went as far as to suggest free agents second-guess signing with Jacksonville. Coughlin's defenses had also suffered over the last several years, kind of trying to play an old-school style of football with run the football and play defense. We know about the unrest with Jalen Ramsey, but it sounds like it's going to be a new regime in Jacksonville.
Well, I think Fournette also came out and I think he posted it or said it somewhere that he had been fined for sitting on the bench when he was inactive for Week 17 last year. So I'm sure there's more to it. I'm sure there's going to be more things that come out.
I'm sure it played into Jalen Ramsey wanting out too.
Oh yeah, I probably no doubt. I'm sure the environment there and the atmosphere there has been probably a bit suspect.
Yeah, and I mean, winning cures a lot of things, so it probably cured a lot of that suspect when, they were on their incredible run 2 years ago, but that hasn't been the case. So it'll be a new regime in Jacksonville. We'll see who they bring in, see what their track record is. I don't know if Doug Marrone's going to get canned or not. We'll have more on that not next Monday, but the following Monday when Black Monday happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone too, and Jacksonville just presses reset on the whole thing because they kind of need to.
They probably do.
They have some nice pieces that somebody could work with. DJ Chark, obviously a nice piece. Leonard Fournette. We've seen flashes out of Gardner Minshew. But the defense is really depleted. So
Yeah.
Speaking of places that need a coaching change, over in Cleveland, Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham both denied reports that they were yelling, "Come get me" to the Cardinals sideline, and stated that they're going to be in Cleveland next season. I think the hope is that Freddie Kitchens will not be. But
He'll be a part of the Black Monday cut down. There's no way that he's the head coach there.
as
He
much
should
as
be
they've
fired now.
underperformed, I don't think he can be either. But Odell and Jarvis, I think that they both stay around.
Yeah, and then if you're looking for a nice buy low candidate, and Odell,
There's one.
there's one.
Yep, because Landry's kind of been the guy, but Odell, I think, will show us more in Cleveland. I don't think that Freddie Kitchens necessarily knew how to use him or how to get the most out of Baker or really anything. So,
Yeah.
we'll see how that unfolds. But yes, buy low on Odell. Hold on Jarvis. Look for a rebound next year and some changes there as well.
Yep.
Titans signed kicker Greg Joseph to replace the injured Ryan Suckup. More on that in a minute. Just saying, Greg Joseph, probably not the worst pickup. You usually want offenses that can move the ball, but maybe struggle a little bit in the red zone. And with Derrick Henry dealing with a hamstring injury, that could be the Titans. So just something to be aware of. And Duck Hodges is going to start Week 16 for the Steelers. So that little controversy was settled pretty quick.
That's like the worst controversy you can ask for. It's
Right.
like, which two of these meddling quarterbacks that you don't really want to play,
Are you going to play?
you have to play
To try to keep your playoff hopes alive.
That's right.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the hangovers. There are a ton of injuries. It is Wednesday, so that is normally when you get a ton of questionables, and who the hell knows. So we're going to run through that.
Hangovers.
All right. Hangovers. Going to go ahead and start with Christian Kirk. He did not practice on Wednesday with an ankle injury. So we'll see.
We'll see. I check back tomorrow and Friday for any updates.
Seahawks tight end Luke Wilson practiced in full. So
Luke Wilson.
this takes Hollister off the field some, That's
Yeah.
pretty much what it boils down to. They're going to split. I don't expect Luke Wilson to get a ton of receiving work. He has been known to vulture a touchdown or two. But we'll see, I guess. I mean, makes me a little tepid on Hollister.
No, they still got Arizona, so it's still a marquee match.
Still good for tight ends.
It just depends on if they want to utilize the receiving tight end more so than their blocking tight end.
Yeah. Which against Arizona, there's really no reason not to. That's why tight ends do. Part of why tight ends do so well is because there's no pass rush there to speak of, so they don't have to stand to block.
Yep.
And then they can't cover them when they aren't in blocking either.
That's right.
Raiders wide receiver Hunter Renfrow limited on Wednesday. Expect him to be back.
Yes.
Titans cornerback Adoree Jackson limited on Wednesday. This is just worth keeping an eye on. Jackson and Logan Ryan have typically been good. So, Denver tight end Noah Fant limited on Wednesday. Keep an eye on that. Damian Williams returned to practice Wednesday after dealing with the rib injury the last several weeks. There really is no threat to his job. We didn't see LaShawn McCoy's role expand, and Darwin Thompson, to no one's surprise, didn't, much like Spencer Ware, didn't jump up and do much with it. So
it's so like there is
they need
not one prime location that I want to see a running back land in Kansas City. Like it's just a bunch of mediocre shit there.
Yep. DeAndre Hopkins missed practice due to illness, so no worries about him. Will Fuller limited with a hamstring injury. It's the same hamstring injury he's been dealing with. No word of a setback, just taking it easy. Julian Edelman limited Wednesday with knee and shoulder injuries. He's been dealing with those for a couple weeks. Should play. Bo Scarborough practiced for the Lions. You also have Kerryon Johnson returning. It's not a good matchup. Avoid them both.
Yes.
Josh Jacobs has been ruled out Week 16 against the Chargers. If you're desperate, Washington or Richard, I'm not desperate.
Pick up if your opponent has Josh Jacobs for whatever reason. Pick up Dwayne Washington just to block him. That's the.
You're not going to start him.
When you start turning, you won't start him. Unless
him.
you absolutely have to. But
right.
This is where you play defense.
Yep.
During the championship run.
Yep. Vance McDonald practiced in full for Pittsburgh, so he'll be back. Doesn't really move the needle any. Neither does Juju returning. I'm not going to trust either of those guys. with Devlin Hodges under center in a championship matchup.
Yep.
Nelson Aguilar is still sidelined for the Eagles, so it'll be J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. More accurately, a lot of Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders. Corey Davis limited at Wednesday's practice. I guess you could make an argument for Greg Ward, who went off, but we'll get to that game in a minute. Corey Davis limited with an ankle injury. A.J. Brown's been outperforming him over the second half of the season. Dak Prescott limited with an AC joint injury. Cooper Rush was taking first-team reps, but Prescott is expected to play.
Apparently, there is some severity to it. I was watching First Take. Don't ask why. At this, but they said it. So I'm sorry, it wasn't them. It was one of the Twitter doctors.
Yeah.
That people follow. That this could be something more so than what it leads on to be.
It
so
could
just
be.
Keep this in mind. So just keep this. So just keep updated if you have Dak for your championship run. It's a very nice matchup.
Which shoulder is it? Is it a non-throwing shoulder?
I think it is a throwing shoulder.
You think it is a throwing shoulder?
Yeah.
Let
me see if I can find it.
I'm looking now.
As you keep talking.
Yeah, no, I was looking too. Sorry, I'm not good at just sitting here. Because I don't know that I really had anything after that. I guess I did. Derrick Henry returned to practice Wednesday. He'd been dealing with a hamstring injury. Taylor Gabriel still sidelined for the Bears. Good news for Anthony Miller owners. Greg Olsen practicing in full. He's been cleared from concussion protocol. Evan Ingram placed on IR. Doesn't have a full Liz Frank injury, but he's going to undergo surgery to stabilize the tendon. So I guess the fact that it's not a full-blown Liz Frank injury is good for next season's prospects, but guy can't stay healthy.
No, I mean, this is going to come to a point because we've seen this type of injury take time to recover from. Julio took a few seasons to get back into it. Sammy Watkins has really never fully recovered from it. We don't know if it'll affect Marquise Brown and when, because he dealt with the two coming into his rookie season. So this is something for dynasty wise you got to keep an eye on. If you play in a tight end premium league, you may want to lean towards trying to reach peak value. But it's tough because when he's healthy, he's
really
one of the better tight ends in the league. So
yep, it's like Jordan Reed all over again.
Oh God, no.
It is right shoulder for Dak. So is this throwing shoulder? Some things to keep an eye on. Probably if they can't afford to, probably less throwing, probably more Zeke if Dak does play, and less mobility from him as well as they try to protect him.
Yeah, I mean I think it's at Dallas, correct? Yeah, against Philly. It's in Philly, so I mean this is
it's not good. Not ideal.
Not a good matchup. It's not a good matchup if you want to be a ground and pound, as Philly's been typically good against the run this year. But Dak's tough as shit. It's just from a fantasy standpoint, you got to kind of temper expectations for all playmakers. We saw last week, even when they put up 4 points, if not more, on the Rams, Cooper and Gallup had, I think, combined like 4 or 5 targets.
Yeah, wasn't much.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton, no setback. He's going to see his snaps increase from last week's 51.8%. More on that in a minute. Mike Evans has been placed on injured reserve. Chris Godwin is not going to play, and Scotty Miller was placed on injured reserve. So, like we mentioned in the Monday episode, Rashad Perriman, Justin Watson, get him. O.J. Howard if he's out there.
Yep.
Ronald Jones, too, potentially, as they have to use their backs in the receiving game more. Because despite his lack of usage in the receiving game, it'll be him and Ogunbowale before it's Peyton Barber.
Yep.
Jameis Winston, limited, but is expected to play. He was throwing tennis balls, same routine he went through last week. Daniel Jones expected to regain his starting job this week against Washington. That is a plus matchup. But, unless you're desperate, Danny Dimes probably isn't what I want to go with either. If you're in the playoffs, you've got better quarterback options.
The battle for the top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Or a battle for a top 2 pick, I think is what it is.
Yep.
Or top 3.
Yep. Jordan Howard remains status quo, i.e. hurt and not playing. He's day-to-day still. And AJ Green has confirmed he is unlikely to suit up week 16 or 17. Did also state that if the big Bengals franchise tag him, he will play. So
What? Like, makes no sense to me. I mean, like, no, him not playing doesn't make sense. Like, that makes sense completely. He shouldn't play. At this point, you're 2 weeks in, you're trying to play for your a next lawn paycheck. If he was going to come back, he would have played 3 or 4 weeks ago.
yeah, he's not coming back. But if they franchise tag him, he'll play next year. Is what he's saying. He's not going to hold out.
Because he probably doesn't think because he's going for that 1 year. Like, he wants that prove it deal, the way that like Jeffrey did with Philadelphia a few years back
Yeah,
when he got his 4-year contract. Green wants to get top pay. Like,
I mean,
he wants to be paid like a top 5 receiver. Like, that's what the franchise tag is. You get the average of the top 5 or of the top 5 players based on pay.
Mhm.
He wants that so he can do a prove it deal to still get his money. But if I'm Cincy, I'm still trying to trade him because
yeah.
like you're still 2-3 years behind in a wide receiver that's going to be 32 next year coming into the season next year.
Yeah, and it have to be something where you'd see in baseball though too, where the team that trades for him is going to have to be, kind of like with was it Antonio Brown or was he a free agent or was it Bell? I don't know.
Bell.
Yeah, one of those two was traded, and you just got to be sure that if you trade for him, that you're going to get a deal done.
That's fair. I mean, with Bell, Bell was let go. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I misheard you. Brown was traded. It's like Brown, except Green doesn't bring the same off the field issues. As
No.
Brown does.
I'm not comparing the off the field issues. I'm just comparing.
Well, I know.
This scenario where if you're going to trade for a guy that's tagged, you've got to be reasonably sure that you're going to be able to get a long-term deal done. Otherwise, you're not going to part with significant draft capital. So
I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Green Bay who needs to start thinking about going all in with Rodgers because he's not getting any younger, and pairing him up, Green up with Adams and that whole core there. So I think there's some suitors out there that would be more than willing to take a chance on him. It just depends how much you're asking for him.
Yeah, it does. I think he's hoping for a trade, but if not, and he decides to bet on himself before he hits free agency, then good.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he can really go get paid. Or not, if it doesn't work out. Betting on yourself is exactly that, a bet.
That's fair.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the Week 16 rundown. We'll stop about halfway through for a preview. I don't think I actually have anything for this, so we're just going to roll with it. Gonna go ahead and start off with the Texans and the Buccaneers. Yeah, I forgot. I don't have a drop for doing this way. We usually break it up.
That's fine. It was just a pause for effect.
It was a pause for effect because I was trying to figure out if I had anything. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna pick something.
Fuck it.
We're just
do something random.
We're just gonna pick one here.
Top shelf or rail?
I mean, that works.
There we go. How about that? Claude Bear horn.
It's so good.
I think I probably have the old drop someplace, but
I mean, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. All right, Texans, Buccaneers. What I don't like here is Carlos Hyde. Again, a Buccaneers run defense that has been very, very good. I do not like Carlos Hyde here. What I do like here is just about everything else. The Bucs can't cover anybody. The Texans can't cover anybody. I think that this is a game that's going to be a shootout. If I'm betting, I want to take the over on it. It is Saturday, so be wary of that. There are 3 Saturday games this week. But what I don't like is Carlos Hyde and defenses. What I do like is both quarterbacks, Jameis and Deshaun Watson. Obviously, Hopkins. We already talked about Perriman and Justin Watson extensively. I don't think that at tight end position, Cameron Brate or O.J. Howard is a bad swing either.
Yeah, like if this was in the middle of the season, I'd be a little more tepid. Because you may see, you have the Bucs missing their top 2 weapons, really top 3. Winston's banged up. At this point, there's nothing to play for. Like, I think they're going to just go out there and just, have fun or whatever. Houston, there's no concern. This could yield more of a Duke Johnson game if they're going to try to, throw checkdowns. They do have Shaq Barrett, who's a fantastic pass rusher. You may see some more underneath throws. You may see a little bit more checkdowns. They kind of keep the pass rush at bay. So if you're going to throw out Duke Johnson, it's not the worst. Like, I would rather play Duke Johnson over Carlos Hyde this week if I have to pick between the two. Watson's a must start. Winston, I'm nervous in the league that I have him in. I may play Ryan Fitzpatrick over him. Massive lack of weapons and him hurt. I may try to lean somewhere else, but he should be a fine play. I mean, obviously expect an interception, 300 yards, and 3 touchdowns at this point from him. But there is a little bit concerned for me that if the Bucks can't get nothing going on offense, that this could turn into a Carlos Sides, slow it down, type of game.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, Bills Patriots.
Ugh.
It's gonna be defensive. I want nothing to do with John Brown. I want nothing to do with this game for the most part. Like, either defense is obviously fine. They've both been very, very good. Josh Allen's been able to get it done, but I really both offenses outside of John Brown, Josh Allen occasionally, and Devin Singletary have kind of struggled. So you can make the argument for Edelman here, but I don't think probably outside of maybe Edelman that you're going to start a whole lot in this game. This game is going to be very, very defensive.
Yeah, I like both defenses. You're not playing Brady for whatever reason. You're not playing Josh Allen because New England knows how to take away a team's best offensive weapon, and that includes mobile quarterbacks. Not named Lamar Jackson. They're not going to force feed the running game like the Bengals did this past week with Joe Mixon. So I don't think there's a lot here. If this is a fun game, I think I would take. I think Buffalo outright beats them.
They might.
I would take Buffalo in the money line here.
I hope they do.
They're plus 6.5. You're going to play the spread. I don't have the actual Vegas amount for the money line bet, but I would feel pretty comfortable. I think Buffalo gives them a run for their money here.
Yep. All right, Rams 49ers, and how do you break this one down? We've seen the 49ers get torched by the Saints. We've seen the Rams offense be good and be not good all of a sudden. With this one, I think you're pretty much sticking with this is a definition of don't get cute, right?
Yep.
I think this is if you want to start Cooper Kupp as a wide receiver 3, fine. He's gone from being otherworldly to having a couple bad games to being kind of what he was last year. If you want to start George Kittle, I mean, obviously you're starting George Kittle. If you want to start Tyler Higbee, you can make the argument for that. Outside of that, though, this is a game that you're not going to try to get cute with like Brandon Cooks, for example, or Deebo Samuel. You can maybe make the argument for Emmanuel Sanders, but I'm not going to get cute here.
I mean, so I'm not playing Cooper. So we'll start with I'm not playing Jared Goff. I would try to lean away from Todd Gurley, but with him being a little more focused, heavy on that running game and going through him, I think Gurley still has a fine floor. I just don't think we'll see a ceiling game from him. Robert Woods has become the one in this offense because he fits in all facets of the game that they want to play in, and he's been the highest snap count guy.
Yeah.
Kupp saw his snap count completely rise back up to that 90+ range. I think with them falling behind early, I think they had to go away from the heavy running game that I think they want to try. They're on the road, the Rams. So I think you have to expect them to be playing from behind. San Francisco, when they get it going, is fantastic. I think they got too cute against Atlanta this past week. And you saw what happened. I mean, it was George Kittle, and that was it. And the running game was very suspect throughout. I didn't get to watch the game. I'm just going off what I saw through box score and through what I saw on Twitter. But I think we kind of know who to start for the 49ers. George Kittle. I mean, if you want to try to play one of the receivers, I wouldn't be surprised if a Deebo goes off or a Sanders goes off. But are you really going to bet on that in your championship game?
No, this isn't one.
Or even your third place game.
Right. This isn't one where I necessarily am saying, again, like I've said about 4 times already, don't get cute. This isn't one where I'm necessarily saying, hey, go start Deebo or go start Emmanuel Sanders. If I'm going to go for somebody, it's probably Emmanuel Sanders, but at the same time, depending on how this game script goes, it's a hard one to predict.
Yeah, I agree.
Steelers-Jets, this is another game that I kind of would like to avoid. You've got a middling quarterback in Devlin Hodges. The Jets' defense has been passable. The Steelers' defense has been really, really good. I don't love Robbie Anderson here. I don't love Lev Bell here. I obviously don't love Juju or James Washington, or really the Steelers backs.
I mean, if I'm playing anybody from this game, I'm playing James Washington. The Jets can get beat deep. I don't know if we'll have Jamal Adams back. So that may free up if you want to get cute with Vance McDonald, because he won't get Vance, or so
Right.
he won't get Jamal Williams or Jamal Adams. Excuse me.
You won't get Jamal Williams either.
He won't get Jamal Williams. Well, maybe. Well, I'm not sure. I'm playing their deep threat, but I think they tend to go back and forth with who they want to feature as the main receiver. If Juju's back and playing, he may get whatever. I'm so like, if I'm taking a shot, it'll be under deep threat. But I'm with you here. I'm not getting cute here. Maybe you make a case for a Lev Bell revenge game, but Pittsburgh's playing for a playoff spot.
Pittsburgh's been playing so well against the run too.
Yeah,
that I don't think
and they're also like, there's nothing more that
offense.
I think the fans and the organization will want to see them just shut the shit down on Lev Bell.
Yeah,
and make Sam Darnold beat them, which against their secondary and against one of their very underrated pass rush, I don't see happening. This game is probably like, it's 37 over under. It's going to go under, I think.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, Saints Titans. This is a little more interesting. The Saints, you've been pretty much status quo with. You're gonna start Drew Brees. You're gonna start Michael Thomas. You're gonna start Alvin Kamara, and you're probably gonna start Jared Cook. Titans just depends really on, if Corey Davis plays, then I like AJ Brown more, because that means Corey Davis gets a healthy dose of probably Lattimore, and it frees up AJ Brown, who's been very, very good as of late. We've seen the Saints defense kind of flex between being good and being not good. So AJ Brown's really the first guy I'm saying, hey, I feel comfortable taking a dart throw on him. And then obviously, with as good as Ryan Tannehill's played, you could probably make that case. And Derrick Henry, with him returning to practice in full on Wednesday with the hamstring issue, that is kind of a non-worry for me.
Yeah, like for this game I mean, the Saints are traveling to Tennessee. Road breeze. Say what you will. Vegas likes this game in terms of total at 50.5. I'm playing Tannehill. I'm playing all the the usual suspects. If you want to get cute and bench Kamara, I probably wouldn't say no to it because of how suspect he's been playing. I'm playing AJ Brown no matter what. I don't care if Corey Davis is hurt or not. What we've seen from Brown and the fact that he can get extremely physical and win early on in his routes and beat guys deep, I don't care who he lines up against. I'm taking that shot. What I've seen from him so far, and I agree with you. I'll play Jared Cook, and maybe you play a little bit of Jonnu Smith because of what he's been able to put together with Tannehill over the past few weeks.
Yep. Next game, a little more clear cut. Colts and Panthers. Obviously, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey. You're fine with that. You're going to get Will Grier. I think that the Colts defense has generally regressed this year. So you should be okay with your normal Panthers starters. Greg Olson's back too. So for the Colts, though, Marlon Mack, who had a kind of a down week last week, you're absolutely good running him out against the Panthers. I have faith in T.Y. Hilton without having a setback. They're probably going to unleash him a little bit more. And I can make an argument for a Jacoby Brissett stream, really against a Panthers defense that is also lacking some teeth.
Yeah, I have no issue playing a lot of these players from here. I mean, I don't know if I get cute with Will Grier.
No,
outside of super deep, super flex.
No, don't get cute with Will Grier. I tossed that out there as a, hey,
well,
you got a quarterback change, but I don't think the offense changes fundamentally.
No, I think he'll funnel targets to his top guys. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. I say Ian Thomas, but with Greg Olsen back, or potentially back, I'll lean off of that.
Yeah, he's cleared from concussion protocol, so he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll likely play. Colts wise, yeah, I agree. Brissett, Mack, Hilton, even Jack Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle's not a bad one either.
I have no issues. I think this will be potential shootout. I think this is a great Marlon Mack game because I think he'll get fed no matter what. Like, unless the Colts get down early, which I don't see happening, this should be the perfect game script for Mack to just feast.
Yep. Bengals Dolphins and what could actually be decent. So here I like Devontae Parker. He's been very, very good. Was very, very good against last week, and the Bengals do not pose a threat to that connection that he has with Fitzpatrick. Gesicki, if you're looking for a tight end, could also see some volume in this one. For the Bengals, Tyler Boyd's been good to great 3 out of the last 4 weeks, and Joe Mixon should not have a problem running in this one.
God, Joe Mixon's gonna win some people some championships.
I think he is too.
He's been fantastic since that Ravens game when they just fed him the football. I'm not playing anybody else from Cincinnati outside of Joe Mixon. Maybe you want to get cute with Dalton, but Dolphins though, Fitzpatrick, Parker, I guess Gesicki if you want to.
Yeah, I'm thinking for the Dolphins, the only one I'm really sold on that's a must plug in is Parker, and Gesicki is more. I think Fitzpatrick you might be getting a little too cute with just because of how streaky he is. Gesicki is more of a if you need a tight end, which some people might. So
it really depends what Cincinnati does. Like if they can get out early and force Miami to throw like this, like I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes under the 46.5 that is set at. I wouldn't be surprised if it
goes over,
turns into a shootout.
Yeah,
like it's one of those where I'm playing the guys I feel most confident in, and that's Mixon and Parker.
Mixon, Parker, and Boyd for me. With because Boyd's resurgence has coincided one with, really with Andy Dalton coming back in as starter. So, Ravens Browns. Ravens, I don't need to say a whole lot about. It's Ingram, Jackson, Andrews. I'm not getting cute with Hollywood Brown.
No.
For the Browns here, don't get too cute with this one either. If you're going to start a wide receiver, it's Jarvis Landry, and it's been Jarvis Landry all year, although I'm not big on that matchup. I don't necessarily want to run Baker out there, even though I think he's going to have to throw. And, Nick Chubb's fine.
I mean, this was a game that kind of set that kind of like the map for this is what started their big ass run. Nick Chubb feasted on their last matchup. Ravens defense has been a bit better since that week 4 game. But I agree with you there. It's the main 3 from Baltimore, including Baltimore's defense. If you're playing defenses out there, and obviously in Tucker we trust. And then Nick Chubb and Jarvis Landry. I think Landry gets underneath fed. I think you can see. I think you can make a case for Odell if they're gonna keep trying to force feed him. But if you made the championship with Odell, then you probably aren't gonna play him because you found pieces to get you through those, mid to early season games.
Yep. Odell, I'm steering clear. I don't think Odell's kind of like Juju in the sense of where there's a lot of name cachet and a lot of past performance, but I don't know that you've necessarily been thrilled any given week with either of them. So
at least he's getting targets.
I'm just not gonna try it in a championship matchup against a good defense.
Exactly.
I'm just not willing to try it.
That's the only thing with Odell, that he's been getting targets, and maybe, but again, I'm not gonna be super thrilled to throw him out there. So.
All right. Jaguars Falcons. I'll let you start off with this.
I mean, Minshew is fine. I think it depends because Atlanta's defense has been really hit or miss since they switched coordinators. They gave Garoppolo fits last week, and he didn't really do much until the end of the game. But Minshew is, he's been kind of that just real middling tier. You're gonna play Fournette no matter what. You'll play Chark if he's healthy. That's about it for Jacksonville. For Atlanta, I've never loved playing Matt Ryan because you just never know what you're gonna get from him.
It's a great matchup, though.
It is a great matchup. You're absolutely right. They're at home.
Yep.
And
against Jacksonville defense that has no teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Don't really care about the running game because I don't really trust Freeman, even though this has turned into a good matchup for him, as Jacksonville's defense has been bad throughout all facets of the game. Julio, you're obviously going to play, and then obviously you're going to play Austin Hooper. So
Yep. This one for
pretty
me,
chalk.
Minshew's fine. Fournette is fine. Chark, if he can go, is fine. If you're looking at fringe guys, I'd feel comfortable with. This is another matchup where I feel pretty comfortable that guys will produce, especially on the Atlanta side with Julio, Hooper, and Freeman, and then especially Freeman in this one. If we're looking for fringe guys to start, which is typically where start sits comes from, I would take Freeman over most probably. You're gonna run out Julio. I would take Matt Ryan over a lot of guys this week, just because of how juicy this matchup looks, and I would be comfortable with Chark.
Yeah, I'd say throughout Freeman. I think it'll be fine.
Yep. Giants Redskins. In this one, I obviously Saquon and AP. For the Redskins, Terry McLaurin's a good start this week. We've kind of faded McLaurin in some tough matchups, and he's proven that he can produce, especially as Haskins comes along a bit. You're not going to get cute and run Dwayne Haskins out there because he doesn't have the ability to put up big points, and Daniel Jones has been too streaky for you to trust that. But I do like Terry McLaurin this week. I like Adrian Peterson this week. And Saquon Barkley to me is kind of a no-duh. Tate and Shepard, I do not want to rely on.
No, I mean, with all three of these guys, Shepard got the targets, Tate and Slayton got the touchdowns.
Yep.
With Jones back, who knows? He may favor more the downfield game now because he's got a bigger arm than Eli. So maybe that favors a little bit into Slayton's game.
I was just gonna say you're showing rapport with Slayton too. So if you're gonna take a dart throw on a receiver from the Giants, I'm taking Darius Slayton over the other two.
Yeah, I have no issue with that.
All right, let's hit a review and then we'll hit the last 6 games.
Okay.
Beer review.
All right, Dan, you were drinking Odd Sides
Bluegrass breakfast, Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee, maple syrup, bacon, and pecans. On the nose is very boozy. You get that chocolate, you get sweetness that sticks out. On the mouth, a lot of chocolate. The pecans really smooth it out with that subtle sweetness. I don't get much of the smokiness. That could be more so the fact that I just got my teeth done and everything else on my palate maybe not as up to snuff. I don't get much of the coffee on it as well. I've let it warmed up as I drink it throughout the show. Nothing's really changed more so. I've lost a little bit of the chocolate as it's warmed up, but the pecan sweetness really sticks out. I'm a big fan of pecans and beer, so I tend to lean towards that flavor a little bit more.
All right. And I was drinking Blanton's single barrel bourbon. So with this one, on the nose, it's really kind of light. You get a subtle sweetness to it, almost like a rock candy or like a sugary sweetness to it. Very subtle though. When you taste it, take a sip. It starts out again with that kind of that soft, like brown sugary sweetness. There's a nice kind of warm oak throughout on the backbone of it. Kind of maybe a hint of dark fruit. And it finishes with a decent amount, almost like of a baking spice, if you will. So kind of a drier but warm spice to it. So overall, very, very good bourbon. It is one of my favorite pours. I am drinking it neat. The flavors in it are not overwhelming. It is not super hot. It's only 93 proof, so it gives you a nice warmth throughout, but it's not harsh as far as the alcohol content goes. And you just kind of a nice sweetness with a nice kind of charred oak taste all the way through it. And again, just kind of the warmth of baking spices there at the back end.
I love Blanton's.
Blanton's is delicious.
Blanton's is awesome.
All right. Lions Broncos. Ugly.
Can we skip this game?
No, because I think you're going to start Cortland
I
Sutton.
know.
And
yeah, I know.
You could also probably start Philip Lindsay in this one. Those are the two. Don't get cute with Drew Lock, even though he has the potential. Actually, do get cute with Drew Lock if you want to. If you are that hard up for a quarterback, go ahead and start Drew Lock. We saw him struggle last week, but Lions defense, not good. Not much of a pass rush. Start Drew Lock. If you're streaming quarterbacks, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Stay away from the Lions. You're not looking at David Blau. You're not looking at any of the running backs. It is a terrible, terrible matchup. You're not looking at Kenny Golladay. The only things you're looking at in this game to me are Philip Lindsay and Cortland Sutton are the two that I'm comfortable with saying starts. And then if you absolutely need a quarterback and you're looking for upside, Drew Lock is a guy that I'm comfortable with.
Denver's defense is not a bad play either.
Denver's defense is a really good play. Sorry, I forgot the obvious.
I mean, most 50-50, I think, at this point, if leagues have a defense. If your league has a defense, this is a good matchup if you're playing Denver. So,
all right, Raiders Chargers, no Josh Jacobs in this one. Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, you're gonna start. You're gonna start Hunter Henry and Keenan Allen in this. Again, Raiders just not that great on defense currently, even though we've seen waves of them.
We've seen flashes.
You've seen flashes, but you're going to start your guys on the Chargers that have been putting up points for you all season because there's no reason for they not to. The Ravens are not what you consider a good, or not the Ravens, sorry, the Raiders are not what I would consider a good matchup or a bad matchup. They're just kind of one of those neutral matchups where you take what you know about a team and you just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing, I think the guys you would generally play in.
Yep.
Just in general, Darren Waller for the Raiders, nobody else because Josh Jacobs is hurt. And then you're playing the two running backs with the Chargers, Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry. I wouldn't get cute. You can maybe get cute with the Chargers defense at home. But,
yeah.
I guess no Josh Jacobs makes that team a lot more one-dimensional.
Yep. All right, Cardinals, Seahawks. Seahawks is pretty much a start, everyone, in this scenario. Jacob Hollister is a good start. Russell Wilson is a good start. Tyler Lockett is a good start. And DK Metcalf obviously has massive upside. Don't start Josh Gordon. He's suspended.
Carson.
And Chris Carson. Obviously, huge upside for Chris Carson. So, must start there. For the Cardinals, it's really just Christian Kirk if he plays, and then Kenyon Drake.
I mean, if you want to... I don't hate Kyler Murray, just because of the rushing floor that he can provide, but I'm not going to feel great about it. He's one of those fringe streamer quarterbacks where if just with how Arizona wants to run their offense and be super up tempo, you can get it either way. But I agree with you if you're gonna play all your Seahawks players that you expect to play.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I thought I had something else to say about this game, but I really don't think I do. It's just run your Seahawks out there.
And play Seattle defense because Kyler Murray takes a shit ton of sacks.
Yeah, Kirk if he plays.
And Kirk if he plays.
Yep. Fine. And then Kenyon Drake, by the way, Kenyon Drake I hold kind of in the same regards this week as Devonta Freeman. Bobby Wagner a little bit banged up in the middle there for Seattle. We know that they can be ran against, and Kenyon Drake has been a focal point of the offense, especially in the red zone. So I'm comfortable with Kenyon Drake.
Sure.
Cowboys, Eagles. Kind of touched on this one a little bit earlier, but I'll go ahead and touch on it again. The Eagles are a mess. Goddard and Ertz are the two guys that you want to start. I am not going to try to get cute in a divisional game with Greg Ward or Arcega-Whiteside for the missing wide receivers from an Eagles perspective. I do think the Eagles defense with a wounded Dak Prescott and a down year from Zeke Elliott is a play that I'd be comfortable with making. But and then obviously Miles Sanders, who's about the only healthy running back that's getting any form of volume. Sanders is another one I would put right there with Drake and Freeman as far as guys that are fringe that I'm saying, yes, start them.
Well, I'm playing Sanders no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas's defense, they're not going to have, Van Der Esch, Sean Lee's hurt. This is not the defense that we saw early season. They are banged up to shit.
Yep. They absolutely are. And, the Eagles are going to have to find different ways to get it done without their wide receivers, and it's going to be through the tight ends, and it's going to be through Miles Sanders. We saw last week what Miles Sanders could do. Don't be surprised if you see a similar performance from Miles Sanders this week as his 172-2 performance last week.
I mean, fuck it. If you're in those super deep league, Boston Scott I think he
Yeah.
had 10 targets last week, if not more. I mean, they need playmakers throughout. They'll test them deep every now and then, especially if Philadelphia, or excuse me, especially if Dallas gets it going offensively early. Boston Scott's not a bad play either.
Nope, he's not. As for the Cowboys, Dak's shoulder is concerning to me. Is it concerning enough to you to roll off of a Dak Prescott start? Who's
If I can
an
find
auto start?
somebody better, like it's tough because it just depends. Hopefully you
Got
have
somebody
some
else.
backups with them. At this point, you should be rostering multiple quarterbacks to play the right matchups and for any sort of like injury concern here. Like I'm still playing Dak if I feel comfortable enough.
You gotta fade him.
Gotta fade him a little bit. Gotta fade the playmakers in general, but this is must win. Like for me, it's if you're gonna lay your body on the line for one game, this is gonna probably be it, for them. Because whoever wins this game wins the division and goes to the playoffs.
It is, but just because you got to lay your body on the line doesn't mean that the injury isn't there. And,
Well, I know.
his throwing shoulder isn't gonna hamper him in some way or another, or change how this game gets called. And I think that it does. I think that Dak Prescott is a giant red flag for me this week. Really Cooper, and I'm staying clear of Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper might be the only one that I kind of want to start in the receiving game.
Shit. Like if you're gonna keep it underneath, I don't want to play any of these receivers.
I don't either.
It just really
scares me.
Limits the field for them. But it's Wednesday. We have two more practices before anything's set in stone. Let's hear some updates on Dak. Dak is a very, very tough quarterback in terms of what he can endure. I've rode Dak for majority of the season, and I haven't been too disappointed outside of a couple weeks. Still, this is a we'll see, because I wouldn't be surprised even through injury if Dak does post a nice game.
He's playing, but a nice game thing, I'm not as comfortable. I'm not as confident in that as you are.
Okay.
Chiefs and Bears. For this game, Tyreek Hill, for sure. I don't want anything to do with Chiefs running backs. Travis Kelce, for sure. Patrick Mahomes, for sure.
So for me, this is pretty simple. You're playing your surefire Chiefs. You're playing Mahomes, Hill, and Kelce.
Yep.
That's it.
Now for the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky, who's been generally better. I'm not going to say stream him. I'm going to say it's a fringe for me that you could. Chiefs defense has been better, though, as well. So not comfortable on that. That's like I'm reaching, and he's probably on waivers.
Chiefs are the number one defense against quarterbacks over the past 4 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm not playing Trubisky this week.
Now,
they've been fantastic.
Anthony Miller, with Taylor Gabriel still hurt, has been a bigger part of the offense, and Allen Robinson are two guys that I would have to take a long, hard look at.
So, Chiefs number one against receivers.
Who have they played in the last 4 weeks, though? They played in the snow twice.
The defense has got... I know. The defense is also... They've gotten healthier, and they've gotten better. That
doesn't answer my question.
To me,
who did they play?
That's true. New England... I'll have to go back and look.
I'm looking right now. Keep talking.
But, again, I'm not playing Trubisky. If he has a good game, great. That's fine. I'm not playing the running game because Montgomery hasn't really given or shown me much, at least from a consistency standpoint. Robinson should give you a decent floor because of target volume. Miller is probably your upside play, though, because there might be a couple deep shots for him in this game and take one to the house. Obviously, you're not playing tight ends here, and obviously, you're not playing the Bears defense. Chiefs defense is a fine play because they're very opportunistic.
Mm-hmm. So I will say this: that last 4 weeks, the Chargers, then there's a bye. So I don't know if it's like their last 4 games or the last 4 weeks overall. So either way, Chargers, bye week, Raiders, Patriots, Broncos. 327 pass yards to the Broncos, who were mostly playing from behind in the snow. And then 271 to the Patriots, also while they were playing from behind, who almost came back. So, just saying.
Like I said, it could be. It could be.
I'm not saying Trubisky. I'm not gonna say Trubisky is anything more than like a Hail Mary that you have to take for some reason.
You're going Tupac in this. You're going full Hail Mary.
Yeah, you're going full Hail Mary on that. Anthony Miller, feel a little more confident about that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a couple big plays.
Well, and he doesn't.
He may get 2 or 3.
Been playing well too, but he's not going to line up on Breland or Ward, who play outside. Miller plays mostly out of the slot, so you should avoid both of their top corners.
I think Miller has a chance. If there's someone that's going to catch a 40+ yard ball for a touchdown potentially, it's going to be Miller.
118
I think Robinson
yards
will get
and
his
15
volume.
targets last week, 2 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he's had double-digit targets in 3 of the last 5. So they're trying to get him involved, and he by far has the best matchup out of any of the receivers on the Bears, I think.
I agree.
David Montgomery is kind of a no from me, dog.
Yeah, I'm not. No.
No.
I mean, if you think game script wise, and they're going to be playing from behind, maybe Cohen. But again,
I would.
You're not trusting your championship matchup on these fringe running backs.
No,
you're not playing.
You're not playing Cohen or Montgomery. No. You can make the argument for Miller or Robinson if you absolutely need to. Like Miller a little more than Robinson because the matchup and the target volume is getting as they've been pushing the ball downfield. It's been a little more noticeable, and I expect Robinson to draw top coverage. So there it is.
Yep.
Packers Vikings. Thielen's back.
Well, he was back last week.
He's more back this week.
This is going to be like, so this is a battle of bad secondaries. Even though I think Minnesota has started to figure out how they want to play. They're doing a lot more rotation in their secondary and their up front 7 or their front 4, excuse me. I'm not playing Rodgers. Not on the road where he's hasn't been great historically at US Bank Stadium. Jones is really hit or miss. He's been under 50 yards, I think, in like 6 or 7 games this year. And he's been more saved by touchdowns than anything else. So Jones could be a unique fade, even though I think Minnesota's rush defense has struggled as of late. You're playing Adams. You're not playing anybody else there. No Graham. No MVS. I'm not playing Green Bay's defense. As for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, I have complete faith in. Like, we've seen a different Cousins. This is a must-win primetime Monday Night Football with Booger McFarland drawing Diggs on the screen again. Diggs and Thielen, I wouldn't be shocked if the Vikings blow them out and Diggs and Thielen go off for a huge game. As for the running backs, I think is the biggest talking point here is you can't trust Cook. You can't. He's gotten you here, kind of, because he's been really suspect during the playoffs. I like Mike Boone over Madison. I've always liked Mike Boone over Madison. Madison's banged up, but he may play as well. So you can't really trust this running backfield. If you have somebody that is at least of decent worth in terms of matchup, I'm playing him over Cook. Receivers, I have no issue playing Diggs and Thielen. And Rudolph has found his role in this offense and has been able to produce.
Yeah. We'll say this as far as the Packers secondary goes. They've allowed, let's see, since week 6, one receiver over 15 points. There's Anthony Miller last week. Everybody else has been
really
10 to 11. Yeah, so they've consistently not been shut down, but they haven't been giving up big games. They've actually only allowed 2 over 15 points all season. Amari Cooper in week 5 and Anthony Miller last week. So
even Sterling Shepard against them?
Sterling Shepard
was that early touchdown?
It was 10 even.
Okay. Wow.
7 for 30.
They really shut him down.
Well, yeah, he only had 40 yards. He just had the touchdown.
Okay,
So
that's right. No, either way, like I'm a homer,
I know you are.
obviously.
that's why I let
So-
you go first, just like I went first with the Bears.
Yeah. So there's
So-
a little bit of that. There,
Like
Jones. I guess Jones and Adams for me. If I'm playing Packers, I'm not playing Rodgers. So
no, I'm not. I'm not either. Jones and Adams are absolutely playing. But you're not getting cute with anything else, really. I mean,
no.
with Kumro and Lazard, unfortunately, they're kind of hampered by each other because they've both been good when they've gotten targets, but they're splitting targets. So
One of them may have a big play.
one of
is
them
the
might
hog.
have a big play, but they're not going to have the volume, and you're not going to know which one. So stay away from that.
I
love
not
them
gonna
both.
Fucking play the guessing game either.
Yeah, I love them both. I just don't know which one to tell you to start. So just don't. You know?
I agree.
And as far as running backs go, it is the Packers have not been as good in that regard against running backs. So, 8th most points allowed in the last 5 weeks to that position.
You're playing the guessing game, and
You are.
if Cook plays, you may have to play him.
If Cook plays, you
because
play
ju-
him.
Yeah. But at the same time, where if you have Devonta Freeman,
Mhm.
I think I would still roll with Freeman, or
Yeah.
even like a Kenyon Drake. Like Cook isn't, especially from last week. It's one hit. Like he's that banged up. He's one hit away.
Oh no,
And with
but
the Vikings,
he could have
and,
went
the
back
biggest
into
thing
either
here
of
is
those games though. Just ask your coach.
yeah,
I mean, he
the
inexplicably
big-
didn't, but he could have.
yeah. The biggest thing you have to look out for. This is the Monday night game. So if Cook doesn't play, you have to have one of the backups. And if the Rams lose, the Vikings have clinched a playoff spot, which means it may give them more incentive to sit Cook. Because of Cook playing Monday night, I would rather lean more so like if I'm in the championship game and I have Cook, I have to have one of the backups, and hopefully I have like a Freeman or a Drake or a Miles Sanders that I can, pivot into and sit Cook and be a little more comfortable with that decision. But that's just me because I don't want to have to, come like Monday night and I'm down 12 points and Cook's a 50-50,
Right.
which is tough because like if the Rams lose, the Vikings have no incentive of playing Cook outside of maybe trying to go for the division.
They could go for the division. That's the incentive to
Maybe.
play Cook. Is that
Yes.
if they win, they're in a tie with Green Bay and have a real shot at the division pending Week 17.
But
I mean, they're
but
not
the Packers still have the tiebreaker over us
Packers have
based
the
on conference
tiebreaker.
records, on division
Um,
record.
What
excuse me.
what are the Week 17 matchups that could come?
They
into
play the
play?
Lions,
The-
I think.
the Vikings
I'm
do,
pretty
or-
sure. No, the Vikings put the Bears, and I think the Packers put the Lions.
Yeah, I mean that would be tough because you don't think I wouldn't expect that the Lions are going to beat the Packers. And the other problem with that, and this is why I don't play in Week 17, is if the Packers beat the Vikings, then that's it. They have literally no incentive to play anybody.
Well,
else.
I'm saying for this wise is it's the likeliness that Minnesota takes over the division is pretty slim. We needed
it is, but it's not
Packers.
impossible. So how much
No, sure,
criticism?
sure.
What you've been doing this long enough and been watching the NFL long enough to know that a coach is not going to concede to just a playoff spot if the division is still in
Oh
play.
God, no! But
So
I'm throwing it out there because again,
that's if
you have to
that's
monitor it. You have to monitor it.
Also, assuming that you're buying the idea that Dalvin Cook was healthy enough to, or not buying the idea that Dalvin Cook was healthy enough to come back in the last 2 games. I don't buy that. I think he plays, but I'm ultimately with you. I think it's a little dicey, but
Yeah.
I just don't know how you couldn't roll the dice like the other way. And let's say he doesn't get banged up. He went for 25 points against Green Bay the last time they
Oh.
faced.
Like if Cook goes off, he's on your bench. It'll sting. It will. 'Cause
It's
you
one of
rode
those-
Cook is the reason why you got into the playoffs.
Right. So
Cook
you
isn't
got to
the reason
ride
why
it.
you made it to this point.
Pick
So,
up
like, if you
Jamal
made it to the-
Williams if you're worried about Dalvin Cook playing and Boone and Madison aren't there. Pick up Jamal Williams.
that's fine. Or just have make sure Cook's in your flex. that allow you to play not only just a running back but a receiver and potentially
Yeah,
tight end.
because you could, if you're going that route, then you could
to
look
freeze up Irv Smith.
Irv Smith, Kumaro, Alan Lazard,
Yes.
which both have the potential to do something big. They came out and said that Kumaro should see more looks. We've seen Lazard perform well. I mean, you have options there if Cook doesn't go. I think you plan on starting Dalvin Cook and have a contingency plan.
That's fair. That's fine.
Just because of I mean, look, I love Devonta Freeman and Kenyon Drake this week. I don't think either of them gives you more perceived upside than what Dalvin Cook does. So,
No.
on the off chance he is healthy enough, which probably, and does play. So watch it throughout the week. Watch it coming up to that. See what they're doing with Dalvin Cook in practice. See what's coming out of Zimmer's mouth. Coaches lie, especially Mike Zimmer.
Yep.
So, and then make that decision. But if I were playing it, I'm planning on starting Dalvin Cook. And if for some reason he doesn't go, then I'm going to have a Jamal Williams or a Kumaro or an Alan Lazard in my back pocket.
You're going to have somebody because you have to play him.
You got to have someone.
Yep.
So you take I would honestly probably take the Hail Mary on one of the wide receivers. Because if they catch a bomb, then a bomb touchdown, then you got a double-digit game.
Yep.
And both can, so. All right, that's all we got for you for Wednesday episodes this year, honestly. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for coming in to hang out. Those of you that do pop in for the live streams and have kind of dealt with with us getting these in whenever we can, we certainly do appreciate it. We'll be back on Monday for our only episode next week, which will be kind of a Week 17 satire episode. Because you shouldn't be playing in Week 17. We'll do Week 17 satire just a bit, and then we'll probably take a quick look at and make some Black Monday predictions for Monday.
Hell yeah.
So, actually, no, we won't have Black Monday yet. So, yeah, we'll make some Black Monday predictions and take a quick look at Week 17 next Monday. So, tune in for that. Everybody have a good weekend. Get your Christmas shopping done. Follow us on YouTube at Beerfield Fantasy Football and Twitter at BeerfieldFF. I am at Hot BFF. He is at Theory BFF. And we will catch you guys on Monday. Or Sunday. We'll catch you Sunday. Sorry. Forgot about Sunday. Live stream Sunday morning on YouTube.
For sure.
All right. Now we're out.
See you guys.